What is my purpose? And what stands in its way? Okay, this is one I can answer. I think I lead. I think I love to create. And what holds me back, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what people think. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid that I'll appear arrogant. And so I'm figuring out what it looks like to obey God, even though I'm terrified and even though I'm not sure I want to every day. I think that's all of us. I think we all have things that can help other people. We just have to figure out how to push through it. So my hope for this room is that by seeing other people wrestle, by seeing other people dream, that you will wrestle and you will dream. God will expand the boundaries of what it does look like to follow Him. How cool would that be? So have fun watching my friends. I know that they will entertain you. They're crazy. Okay, bye.
I have the giggles. Okay, who am I? I am Becca.
Really? Who am I? I'm in college.
I am so many things. Physically, I'm a mom and a daughter and a friend, but I would like to think that I'm a lot more than that.
My name's Laura, and I like cats.
I am a child of God. I'm a mom of 3 boys.
And a trainer, watch out, that's recent. A lover of chai. Any lovers of chai out there with me? So many things. And I guess that's why I'm here today, because I'm trying to find out exactly who I am and what I am and what I want to be, and I guess more importantly, what God wants to make me.
So I'm hoping I'll find out.
This little church, somebody was gonna tear it down, build a bigger one, and someone from Austin thought, this will make a cool little music venue. So somehow they picked up the whole church and they brought it to South Congress in the heart of Austin. So we're in one of the coolest cities on one of the coolest streets in Austin, Texas. Welcome to Mercury Hall. If you want to begin with me, turn to Hebrews 12. That's where we're going to be today. We're going to talk about this idea, this human feeling that I think a lot of us feel of restlessness. This kind of drum in us, this beating that makes you a little bit anxious, that makes you a little bit worried, that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, and you don't exactly know where it's coming from. And sometimes you wonder if you just shouldn't feel it because maybe you're just being discontent. The most restless I believe I've ever felt was actually a moment that I had everything that I had ever wanted. Isn't that ironic? So I'm laying on a beige sofa, our first sofa in our first house, and I'm looking up at a ceiling that my husband scraped all the popcorn off of, which was the most loving act and only done by people that are newly married and still deeply in love. And so he's scraping off all this popcorn and he's falling all on his face. It was an awful experience for him. And it was really ridiculous because I'm looking up and there's really all these marks left from the scraper. And so I'm looking at this very imperfect ceiling still, and I'm looking at it, and I've never felt more restless in my entire life. My first little baby boy was asleep in the other room. I'd been to Target that day, which I did every day. I didn't always get to buy things because we weren't that rich, but I would go to Target because I didn't know where else to go. And I would come home and I would Windex my sink. It's not something I do anymore. With 4 kids, doesn't seem to happen ever. But I would Windex my sink then because I didn't know what else to do. And my baby slept all the time. And so I laid on that couch a lot, and I looked at that ceiling that was imperfect a lot. And I thought that sometimes my heart was gonna beat out of my chest. I was so restless. And I didn't know if it was discontentment or sin. I only hoped that maybe it was something more. So maybe I had built my perfectly crafted life and there was something that I'd left out because I had everything I wanted and yet everything in me was kind of dying inside. I think a lot of us feel that way. I think a lot of us are feeling this beat, this drum in us, and we don't know what to call it, and we don't know what to do with it. Every single one of us has been given threads of our lives, pieces of life that you probably think are not special, that you possibly think are the very reason you should lock yourself in your house and not go out. So, what do? I don't believe that looking at ourselves in a mirror for very long is healthy, really, probably at all. But I think if we never look at ourselves in the mirror and consider what God has given us to live out his purposes, I think we're wrong. I think a short season of considering what are your threads, what has God uniquely given you in your life to minister with. I think that what will happen is you'll look at the last paper in your little books. You'll look at the page when you lay everything out in threads. When you get them all on the same paper, even my most cynical friend who is in this room, I will not name her, was like, okay, you're right. I might be uniquely made. And when you see that, all of a sudden, you feel really responsible. Now, let me be clear. I am not saying that I'm going to add a lot of need to your life. I am saying that within the fabric of your life is the calling of your life. We have the Holy Spirit of God in us. So we cannot act like we are not resourced and equipped to meet need in our lives. Okay, Hebrews 12. Let's go. Verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, the writer of Hebrews, right before this, has laid out all of these crazy stories of faith, okay? These were average people that actually believed that God was real. People for centuries, thousands of years since the foundation of the earth have believed in our God and live like it. So we have these people that make us not crazy. And because of that, he's going to make a really clear statement, and this is going to be the theme of what we do together. Let us throw off everything that hinders us and the sin that so unfortunately easily tangles us up. And do what? Run. 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 With perseverance. Because there is a race and it is marked out for you. So there is a call to run. There is a call to not be numb. There is a call to take the little pieces of our life and to say, God, you have me. I'm yours. Whatever you want with these few years or days or whatever I have here, you get to do it. You are God, and I will run for you. And it's just cool that he actually gives us a marked race. I love that. Like, you get your own race, and you'll do it with people But you're gonna have your own paths, your own journey. It's going to weave, it's going to turn, and it will be your race that I prepared in advance for you to do. So we run with perseverance, the race marked out for us. And the only way we're gonna figure this out, the only way we're gonna finish this is that we fix our eyes on Jesus. And it's just cool that he added that because let's be honest, we don't. And what we do instead is we look around. We look side to side and we look up ahead to make sure our parents are happy, to make sure our friends are happy, to make sure that we are fitting into the race that they expect from us. Or we just look at other people beside us running better races, running their races, and we just want to shut down. Years ago, I actually wrote about this, a little parable. And I wrote this because this is what I felt. This is how I felt. When I met Christ, he set me on a track, and I began running a race with fervor. And I was surrounded by people cheering, and I felt motivated, and I felt purposeful, and I felt full of joy, and my eyes weren't distracted, and Jesus was in my full focus. And the point of this race really felt clear to me. But as I kept running, I would notice more and more people tangled up on the side to my left and the right, and some of them had stopped running altogether. And they were distracted by something, and I didn't know what. Some of them had stopped running completely because you could tell they were just in so much pain. And then I fell, and I was hurt. And I was already starting to wonder why I was even running because I looked at everybody on the side of the road and I started to get jealous of them. I started to wish I was sitting beside him because I was getting tired. So now I'm beside him on the side of the road, and at first I'm sad a little, but I was tired, and it was good to sit down. So I pulled myself up to some other runners that were hurt, and we started to tell stories, and we started to tell jokes, and honestly, it got a lot more fun, and it was a lot easier. And eventually, we forgot there was even a race. We were just having fun and cutting up on the side, and the only thing about the race that we were still about was honestly making fun of the other runners. We made fun of what they wore, we made fun of how they did it, we made fun of why they were even still running, and wouldn't it be better if they just sat down, and they'll figure it out soon. Every once in a while, somebody would call out and say, "Come on, Jenny, come back and run with us." But nobody ever actually stopped to help me. Until one day, a little pack of runners headed toward me, and I wish they would go away, but they didn't. I remember passing them back when I was running. They had been the ones on the side of the road. They had been the ones all tangled up. They had been the ones that were all hurt. And they came over and they sat down beside me. One of them handed me water and one of them tended to my medical needs. And they asked me a question. Do you need help? And I had to decide, did I want their help? Did I want back in the race, or did I want to stay on the side? And it was tempting to stay on the side. It was tempting. But something dead in me woke up. And as they coaxed me and said, "We want you to run the rest of the way with us," I started picturing not running alone, but running with people that knew what it was like to be on the side of the road. And it started to feel more exciting than sitting on the side. And a fire lit up in my chest. And everything still hurt a little, but I started to not care. Honestly, I just wanted to run again. I wanted to run recklessly. We are built to run. Was it wrong for me to go to Target that day and to rest while my newborn slept in the other room? Nope. But let me tell you what was wrong. I looked at a ceiling and all I saw was myself and my life and all that I had lost because of a little person sleeping in the other room. And I forgot that even tending to that little person, I am a part of something. I am a part of a story that will go on forever. And every minute that I get here, I want to run this race. And honestly, feeling sorry for myself as a new mom put me on the sidelines, tangled up, numb and bored and selfish. And the biggest aspirations I could have were patio furniture. And I think I'm not alone. And I don't think it matters if you're a mom yet or not. I think that we will distract ourselves with something. And so I really get excited because I think together we could run better. So what if this is safe? It's just a few weeks. You took away all the barriers. And you said, God, I want your marked race for me. And let me tell you, he's creative. He will somehow take target runs and turn them into saving souls. And he will somehow take diaper changes and turn that into our sanctification and our time with him. And he will somehow take cubicles and the loneliness of that and turn them into little prayer chambers where people are actually growing and knowing their Father more, so that when they walk out of that, they actually can look at people in the eye and not be insecure, but actually meet need that's right in front of them. See, he wants to redeem the everyday and the normal and turn it into eternal stories. But that's what scares me, is that not that we're stuck in the mundane, but that we don't see that it's eternal. There's not one soul you will ever pass that is not eternal. So how can that make brushing shoulders with people in a grocery store mundane or no big deal or boring? Everything is big. Every moment we get here is big, even if it doesn't feel like it. This isn't a study on mattering. This isn't a study on becoming important and finding your perfect purpose and all of a sudden your soul will be filled. This is a study about the fact that we already matter and that we already have a purpose bigger and better than we could ever imagine. And this is a study about remembering it, just remembering it, nothing brilliant, remembering it, looking at the most unique, beautiful, creative, infinite God and how he built you. Dreaming about how those little threads that feel like nothing, in fact, they feel like they're just at your ankles, tearing you down, could actually be used to build stories that go on forever. Hebrews 10, if you go flip back 2 pages. We'll end with this. Has a little scary warning. I think it's so applicable to us. Verse 37. Because in just a little while, the coming one, Jesus, he's gonna come. That is awesome. I mean, just that little verse. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. We're not making this stuff up like he is going to come back in just a little while. In just a little while. I'm coming. I'm not going to delay. I'm going to come in the fulfilled, appointed time. I'm going to come. And then he says this. But my righteous one, my people, they're going to live by faith. And the ones that shrink back, my soul doesn't have pleasure in them. The ones on the side of the road, all tangled up, all comfortable, making fun of all the other runners, my heart does not delight in that. He says, but we do not belong to those who shrink back and are being destroyed. I don't want to be sneaky or tricky or hide the answer from you. Because it doesn't matter what great calling that you realize or great purpose that you realize. The only thing that will make your soul not feel restless is Jesus. And the writer of Hebrews knew it. And so he doesn't say find joy in the race. It's just so fun to run. He says it's hard to run. Do it anyway. Run your marked race. And the way you're gonna run, the way you're gonna keep running, the way you're gonna persevere, the way that you will not quit, the only way you will not quit is if you look at the end of the race and say, I believe that Jesus is real. I believe that he died and bled out for me so that I could be with him forever. And if we fix our eyes on him, he says, I'm the pioneer and perfecter of your faith. So we don't have to do this just right. If you're on the side of the road and you are so bummed because you don't even care and you don't want to get off the side of the road, he is the perfecter of our faith. He is the author of it. He will give us faith. Here's what I want you to consider. What if the things that you absolutely love to do, what if the things that are your favorite, your very favorite blissful moments of life actually collided with God's will for your life? What if the most difficult things about your story, the most difficult and painful moments of your life, were actually the place that God wanted to birth the greatest passions that you'll ever have? What if everything that feels mundane and boring about your life and the people that feel random in it all of a sudden started to feel very intentional and not accidental? What if they all of a sudden started to feel like the most important work in the world? And what if God got bigger than our fear? And then the people we're comparing ourselves to and the junk that holds us back and puts us on the side of the road. That would be good. That is what I am praying for us. That is what I believe could happen here.